Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, thank you very much. My name's Karen and this is Karen Sews Slowly. So today's vlog is about redecorating, as you will see, the sewing room, and this has been in the pipeline for a long time. I've always wanted to do something with it, but there was just too much going on in life to actually get around to doing anything. So I've been away for about 4 weeks now, I think. Might be a little bit longer. But in that time, there is so much that has happened, and I'll cover some of those things in another vlog at some point. I have made a few things, which I will definitely cover in another vlog. But this is all about the sewing room. And you may have seen sort of starting to sort out my bins, like these bins here. So I've finished sorting them out. I haven't destashed. I've given a load of stuff to the swaps table. It's sewn in time. What have I done in the sewing room? Well, as you can see, I've moved one of my pegboards. So I've got it here on the side of my Kallax unit. I have the other one just here on the wall. I'll show you that in a minute. The main thing is I have painted the wall and it's not coming out a grand, like lovely colour that it is. It's a really bonny, pinky, purpley colour. I think it's called Dusted Fondant and it's by Dulux. And it's a Dulux Once paint, and boy, has it worked with one coat. Yes, it has. And I don't think paints ever did that, ever. It would say it was one coat and it wouldn't work. So I've painted the wall behind the sewing machine as well, which I'll show you in a minute. And I painted this wall first, and I'll pop a little video in of me starting to paint it in a much darker sort of dusky plum, I think it was called. It was more of a dark purpley, yeah, darker colour. But I just didn't like it. I didn't like the colour at all. It was too murky and dull and boring. Whereas this paint, my hubby actually bought it to paint. We've got a feature wall in the bedroom at Sea Houses, and he bought this paint because he thought it was similar to the paint that was on, and painted that wall. So we had a good 1/2 to 3/4 of a tin left. So I thought, well, it'll do that wall at least. But then I was doing something in the corner over here, ended up looking at, I don't know what I was looking at. I was looking down and I had my brush and just went like that with the brush. So I'm not good at decorating either. So I decided I'm going to paint that wall as well. But it was such a nice colour and it was going on so lovely that I just thought, yeah, we'll have 2 walls. So I'm going to show you what I've done with the drawers and the bins and everything. But I thought I'll give you a little panoramic shot of the room and then come back. You can see how tidy it is. And I really wanted to do this vlog before I start sewing again in here, because once I start sewing, it will be carnage in here once again. So yeah, we'll do the panoramic shot and I'll come back. So there's my cutting table. As you can see, I've been starting to lay out my squares, my 2.5 inch squares. I've been chain piecing. So there'll be a vlog coming on that. This here is a bin where I keep my squares. There's my quilting, hand quilting thread and my little finger pin cushion that I made. This basket over here there's some stuff missing because I took it to Sun and Tyne today, but I have, this was suggested to me by Alison from Sew Like Dotty. It's to hold the ruler down because I said I have a real problem holding my quilting ruler in position. So, and then in here I've got all my heat erasable pens, chalk, there's another little bit of quilting stuff in there that should really go in there. Then it's stood in the back here. I've got my quilting rulers just to keep them upright and stop them clattering around, because they were on the back of here, like this big one which doesn't fit in that basket, but this big one's just, as you can see, it's still in the packaging. I haven't used it yet, but it's a nice 12 and a half inch sort of block size ruler. And then I've got Millie's picture, that's done with diamond art, and I'm currently working on another one of me and Alfie, which is my YouTube channel icon, I suppose you call it. The picture I've got of me and Alfie when I come at the end and the card comes up to say subscribe. So that is going to go on that bit of wall there when I finish it. So along here we have, this is a tray I normally put with things in that I'm using currently, and it normally goes down there, but I just wanted to keep the desk clear at the moment. There's my BenQ lamp, and obviously my sewing machine, my overlocker, get the chair out of the way. So this is my ironing station just in the corner. That's just for quilting. It's not a, obviously not a big ironing board. It's just my little quilting one. It's quite handy to have it there. So if you can hear something clicking, it's because the iron is switched on, which I really should unplug it and switch it off. And there is my other unit from, or shelf unit from IKEA. And on there I have got, absolutely love this. Got this in one of the subscription boxes from Beyond the Pink Door, but I think that's one of Andrea's dogs. Bless it. I don't know if she's still got that dog, because I know one of her dogs died. But yeah, and that lovely picture of the fairy next to it is from my good friend Vicki, who is the Fibro Sewist on YouTube and Instagram. And then because it's Easter, I've got my Easter bunnies, my back post tin, which I've had for years and years and years. And then on the top we have another card. If plan A didn't work, the alphabet has 24 more letters. And a couple of my wristband magnetic pin tray things. So this is my other pegboard. That's the name of them, pegboard over here. So I have my tape measures, some more scissors all the way down the bottom there. And over here we'll have Pansy, my lovely little mouse that I also got from Vicki, the Fibro Sewist. So this is something that used to be on my office door at school when I was at work. And this here is my entire label collection, folks. I know people go mad for labels, but I always forget to put the flaming things in. So yeah, that's my entire label collection. And even in the bottom of there are some sew-on patches. It's not even all labels. I think I've got about 12 labels, and that's it. Some washi tape and that bottom one there. But yeah, very little on those pegboards. So, right, this is, so my Kallax unit, I've organised the boxes. And what I've done so far is I have put little clips with what is in each bin, because once I'd reorganised it, trying to find where I'd put the viscose or just the linen or the fat quarters or whatever, it was just ridiculous. I couldn't remember. Even though I tried to remember, I couldn't. So what I've actually done is I have actually labelled every single one and just use a clip, because these stickers are really old and they're really not sticky anymore. So I have jersey in one. There we are, and I've rolled them all up so I can sort of see them. And I've got jersey in there. I've got my lovely boiled wool, and this is like a shell with a fleecy lining that I got to make dog coats, and it's still sitting there. Then in here we've got linen, suiting, embroidery on glaze, and brushed cotton. Just all manner of fabrics. That's a bit of linen. No, don't know what I'll call that, but it's sort of big enough pieces to make things with that didn't really fit into any other category. My viscoses are in here. I still need to roll them up and put them so that you can see which one's which. I've got lots of plans for those. In this one we have sweatshirting, and cuffing as well. So there's a bit of cuffing there, and all my sweatshirt fabrics, and leftover bits of fabrics as well. Move my chair because it's getting in the way again. Right, in this one we have just the double gauze. So there's a double gauze, there's a top there that I made with double gauze that was absolutely huge. But this is a one I found that I totally forgot I had when I sorted all the bins out, double gauze with a little leaf on. And this came from a Beyond the Pink Door subscription box. And I did make this top out of it, but it was vast. However, I have put weight on, so I might try it on. So I've got all my double gauze in there. And then we have quilting fabrics, fat quarters and scraps. So in the back here we've got a little pot of tiny scraps that I'm determined I'm going to use for something. But that's all my scraps in that little bin there. We have the Mrs. Quilty fat quarters, just because they're folded slightly bigger than the normal fat quarters, and I did start folding them down and it was taking forever. So in here we have some new fat quarters that I've bought, some that I got from the Weatherby Quilting and Stitching show that we went to. I went to with Alison from Sew Like Dotty, and Vicki and Julie, and we met Brenda there from Sewn in Time. And then in there I've got a couple of jelly rolls that I bought at that Weatherby show as well. So that's all organised. And then further down here, this one just quickly, I've got wadding, batting and plain quilting backing. So backing fabric, and then the waddings underneath there. We've done sweat sergers here. This is more quilting cottons. Quite a lot of these I had already. Some of these are things that I've bought for garment sewing, and they're cotton, so they would do for quilting. Some more Mrs. Quilty ones here that I've managed to fold up to the same size. These little tubs I got from IKEA, and they're supposed to go in your drawers. These are fat quarters, which were folded differently, that I got at the quilting show again at Weatherby. So I've got some lovely pinks and colours there. And then these I already had in my stash, and those I bought. I think I already did a vlog on those, and these were from the quilting shop in Birtley, which is high street quilting. And then we have more quilting cottons random I've put. Oh! So yeah, this is more cottons and yeah, random bits of material and some denim and some underneath there is some upholstery type fabric which I bought, which I showed in a vlog ages ago. And come down onto the floor. Oh, you'll hear the knees click in a minute. This is interfacing and random bits of lining. So we've got lining on the top, some cotton jersey lining, some of that cotton stuff. And then in the bottom, we've got some all different types of interfacing and what do you call it when it supports the fabric? And then in here we still have patterns, but this is very few patterns, mainly indie patterns. There's a couple of big four there, and the ones, some things that I've already cut out and put into project bags, and some spare files, which yeah, I am making up. That's my little dog on a stool. And then around the corner here we have the tracing paper to trace out patterns. And then you may remember this poster, I shop faster than I sew. That was on the wall behind the desk. I'm going to save the wall behind the desk for the big reveal. So here is I think I've shown this before. This is a sewing box that when we bought the house, it was in the loft, and I asked the girl who used to live here, and she said, oh, it was my dad's. If you want it, you can have it. And I was like, yes, please. I've always wanted one of these sewing boxes. And bless it, it is full of weird and wonderful sewing stuff. Sometimes I don't actually know what the things are, but it's just really nice to have a look through. And the other day I was looking through and I found one of her granddad's dog tags from being in the RAF. So she came round and got that because I thought, oh, you'll want that. But there's elastic in here, and the smell I'm getting is just aged, sort of, yeah, like antique shop sort of. And then there's some bias binding, propeller bias binding. I've never heard propeller, I don't know how old that is. There's a bit of Velcro there. He was very organised, was her dad. And whoopsie-daisy. So yeah, so I now have my wooden box, and this is one of those IKEA slightly larger ironing board than my little one that's on my desk. Got that from Alison at the last Sewn On Time I went to. There's my poor brother machine that's waiting to be fixed when I get round to it. So on this wall here I have that reminding me to relax, and I am sewing for a hobby, not because it's stressful. And then on top of my Kallax unit, me and my sis in New York, that's a pattern I really want to make up. Kilo wrap dress or jumpsuit by Named Clothing. And I will make that up at some point. I bought myself a new spool holder because the tower that I had just took up too much room on the desk, and I need that room for other stuff. And I've got a couple of little easels there that I'm going to put, when I've made them, some mini quilts on. So don't hold your breath for that. And then obviously Winnie the Pooh, my two little dogs behind the pattern there. Family photo, don't want to say that. And some dog pictures, which I love. And this one here is absolute double of Millie. I don't know if the guy had a dog similar to Millie, whoever's drawn it or painted it, but that is just Millie. And it says, I know, it's just too hard to tell me off. And that's exactly Millie's attitude. So we're back to this end of, less said about that, the better. So I still have 1, 2, 3, 4 bins here. So what I've got down here, that's all filming stuff and vlogging stuff, and there is a little steamer in there. There's some clasps for when I was going to make the dog coats. There's some iron-on spray. That's the handheld steamer I was on about. There's all sorts in there, and there's still a lot could go in there. And actually, I've just spotted my glue gun. That was to go in there as well. There. Glue gun and some bits. And in here, this is, let's have a look. This is project bags, which I've put to one side, and I'll cover them in another vlog. It's when I was sorting out my fabrics and I decided I was going to put a pattern and the fabric in a project bag. And when I wanted to do something, I just grab a project bag and it's there ready to start. But I don't think I haven't cut any of those patterns out yet, but I've got ideas what to do with each of the fabrics. So it's all my fabric is not in my Calyx unit. Some of it is in there. This, let's see. Oh, this is the box of shame, basically. The Marsha style Alexa pants from what was it called? Oh, can't remember. If I remember, I'll try and put it in. And then this was a Simplicity top and skirt I was doing, and I've made the t-shirt, and it's a t-shirt and a fitted t-shirt, fitted skirt, and it's far too small. I've made the t-shirt, not the skirt, so I haven't even started on the skirt yet. So yes, this is the box of shame. And then in here, overlocker threads, hundreds of overlocker threads, every colour under the sun. So I did put those in one of the plastic bins under the table, but it wasn't as big as this box. So there I have my brother overlocker, which I like to take to sewing socials, although I didn't today. That's my previous dog. Well, it's not my previous dog. I like to think it's my previous dog trouser. And then in here I have some quilting whips from one of those labels that won't stick. And then my craft box, which has got buttons, fastenings, hasn't got the labels in because you've just seen the labels, and a bit of Velcro. And I really don't know what to do with all of those things, but they fit quite nicely in there, and it's tucked out the way. And we've got random quilt blocks and the Liberty cushion cover. So this is sort of like quilting whips in this corner over here. So there we go. Yeah, messy desk. We'll gloss over that. And we're back round to the quilting table. And now I'm going to show you my pièce de résistance, my new acquisition. Now don't laugh. We'll explain that in just a second. Oh dear me. So yes, look at the size of that. So I don't know if you remember me saying I fancied one of these lights that everybody has. I think I think Ruan has one, the Yorkshire Sew Girl. Alison has one. So like Dottie, and they're like little neon signs with them, and they're about yay big. They're not very big. And I thought that's what that was going to be. And it said on the order form 60 centimetres, and I thought, oh, if that's the whole thing and it's going to be sort of that big on one line, that's great. That's what I assumed. But I really don't know what the 60 centimetres was, because there's not one of those words measures 60 centimetres. No, they don't. The Karen might, and the Slowly might, but the Sews doesn't. So I don't know where the 60 centimetre comes into it. They're certainly not 60 centimetres high. They're not, like I say, it's not 60 centimetres long, and it covers a 10-foot wall. So, so I do look like I'm really trying to blow my own trumpet with that. And I do apologise if it offends anybody in that. It was an absolute faff to put it up, but once I got the hang of it, it was okay. It's just because this desk would not move, or I didn't want to move it, I sort of had to lean on it and stand on a little step stool at the same time. So when I did that yesterday, and my hips went bananas last night. But I am quite pleased with it. It's quite nice. I've managed to get it straight-ish, I think. And yeah, it's not what I thought it was going to be. It's a lot bigger. I don't intend to be too like, whoa, look at this, look at me. But the reason we've put it up there, because I did want it sort of in shot when I was doing a vlog, the reason we put it at the top there is because I want to actually have this wall as a quilt display, sort of to put my blocks on. If you watch Kate at the Last Homely House or Rachel Stitch with Rachel, they have like a display board that is made of polystyrene insulation tiles, I think, and they are clagged on the wall, fabric over, I think it's batting that they use over it, and then fabric over that to pin their quilt blocks up. And that's what I would like to do on that wall. Not going to get a king size quilt on that wall, but the only other alternative when I am quilting is to lay it out on my bed, which still wouldn't be big enough for the king size quilt because my bed's king size, so obviously it'd go over the edges of that, or to put it on the floor somewhere. Well, as soon as I put anything on the floor sewing related, the dogs are on it. As soon as I get something out, even if I'm getting ready in the morning and I chuck a pair of trousers or something on the bed and I'll put those on, the dogs are on them and making a bed and sitting down, and you just, I wouldn't be able to do it. Like on the floor and on the bed, I couldn't do it. So I am going to need a display board, and yeah, it might only do a quarter of the quilt, but I'll just have to take it in chunks. Right, so I'm going to turn you around again and I'm going to show you my drawers, such as they are. My drawers in my desk, for anybody else that thought something else. Okay, so what we have here is, this is an IKEA tray, and I sometimes lift this out and put it on the top here when I'm sewing, and it literally has, well, drugs. They are anti-sickness tablets. It has quilting clips in there. It has little bits and pieces, so humper jumper, and some little, what are these again? Oh, little clasps if you're making like a hook and eye to put on a skirt or jeans or something like that. These are bits of my camera equipment that's too small to put in the big bin over there. In here I have not buttons, that's out of that brown wooden sewing box. That's, it's not buttons, it is big safety pins, which is really great. Unpickers, needle threaders. And then in here I've got my seam roller, a brush to clean my overlocker with, some more heat erasable pens, my artery clamp to grab thread when my fingers don't work, an awl which I bought at the Weatherby stitching quilting show. So yes, all manner of useful things. There's a lot of things. I usually have scissors in there and a seam guide, and yeah, another purple thang, which is, that's a blue thang. Yeah, I usually have other stuff in there, but because I've been sewn on time this morning, I sort of cleared it out a little bit, and yeah, took that stuff with me because I thought I would need it. So in here I've put my other quilting rulers so that they're not collecting dust, they're not rubbing against other quilting rulers. I've got my templates that I've ordered and bought, and these ones I've had for years and years. Never been used, of course. And then in here, a bit of a mess. Got elastic. I've got ribbon. This is ooh. Oh, that's why it's heavy, because it was stuck in there. This is a Fortnum and Mason tin I got off somebody. Brought it in to school and said, would anybody like that? And I went, oh yes please. So in there I've got my loop turners. So that's what's in there. And then here I have all my zips. Look at that, a right mess of zips. So yeah, if you want to see neat and tidy drawers in a sewing desk, then I would recommend you watch Loves Red Sews. I think she's called Jess, and I'm probably wrong, but she kept opening drawers and saying, oh, this needs a tidy, this needs a tidy. And whereas mine, yes, do need a tidy, hers didn't. They were absolutely beautiful. So this is spools of thread that are not on my spool holder that I've just bought. These are ones that aren't Coats Moon. There's a couple of Gutterman in there, but these are all my Gutterman threads here. In there at the moment I have embroidery floss, and they are some more zips that I bought where you get the bits to put on them. But I even took these to Sewn in Time the last time I went, and people couldn't do it. So I feel a little bit better because I was really struggling to get those on those zips. And in the bottom here, now this is my Presto attacher, snaps attacher, whatever you want to call it. I have a nice big magnifying glass, which comes in very handy when the eyes don't work on an evening. And then I have a lot of crafting supplies and a label maker, but I bought the wrong sort. So this makes labels that are iron on for when you're putting labels in a child's school uniform or something and you iron them on. So it would be no good to make labels for my Kallax unit. And there's just all, yeah, bits and pieces, string, twine or whatever, a hammer to use with my other snaps that I've got somewhere. So yeah, that's that side. And then all the way over here in this side we have, in the top here is basically pins and needles and pens. So normal sort of stationary pens and stuff, and then all the pins and needles. These are machine needles in there, hand sewing needles, and then various quilting pins. Using them on my quilting stuff, they were quite stiff. So a little notebook, instruction manual for my sewing machines and overlockers, and then under here is the card, and these are clips to put the fabric onto said card when I get around to it. I'll move the bin out the way. So in here we have bias binding. In amongst here we have the bias binding makers. We have ready-made bias binding, jersey bias binding on cards. Some very pretty stuff which I've yet to use yet. Bias binding. And then some what do you call it? Visaline wonder web to sort of turn trousers and things up with when I can't be bothered to sew them. And some cord when you're doing piping, which I've never done. Don't know why I've got it. And then in the bottom of there, this is the extension table for my old brother machine, which is broken. The brother machine, not the extension table. The foot pedal, the bits to go with it, and the bits I think to go with my faff machine as well. And then my tailor's ham to use for when I'm ironing. So there you go. So let me know what you think of that, of my organisation. And if you've enjoyed this video, would you please subscribe and like? If you subscribe and you click the notifications bell, you will get to hear when I've recorded another vlog. I won't pester you too much, I don't record that many, but usually they're a good chunky size when I do. And you know, if you haven't subscribed and you are somebody who watches me regularly, I would much appreciate it if you could. There's quite a lot of you who watch unsubscribed. It doesn't cost anything, it's just a few clicks of the mouse and then it's all done. So I'm coming back with a makes video, and I have sewn stuff, and then I'm going to go through all of those pouches as well and show you what fabric I've picked to go with what pattern, show you my works in progress as well. And then I might even tag on or make a separate video about the quilting that I've been doing. So yes, if you can give me a thumbs up, if you can subscribe, and give me a comment down below if you can see any way I could organise this a bit better. I'd be much appreciated. But if you really want to see somewhere that really is organised, like I say, if you watch Loves Thread Sews and look for her sewing room tour, she has definite skills in the organisation department. Right, I'm going to leave it there and wish you all well, happy sewing, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.